Even when 3 or 4 generations of a Polish family are not living together physically, there's still such active participation in each other's lives that they may as well be sharing a common roof. One effect of what may seem to the outsider like deprivation is, in fact, the preservation of traditional family values and Polish culture over the past 50 years, despite enormous changes that have occurred in the country. Public respect for the elderly and a strong sense of family duty are still valued and very much in evidence, even in the high expectation environment of free market Poland of the 1990s. Mutual help is a major underpinning of family life, and therefore of business friendship in Poland. Sharing of resources among family members is expected, and this attitude carries over into business, where Poles cooperate as much and as enthusiastically as they compete. For example, many urban residents have relatives living in rural areas with whom they regularly exchange goods and services that may be unavailable in the country in return for a steady supply of basic foods and luxuries like fresh fruit, often unavailable in the city at any price.
Poland, of course, is a very large country, not only in size, but with 40 million people. It does represent a tremendous opportunity, especially if you're in the retailing business and you look at all the people in Poland and see the opportunity to sell those people apparel. It's a very diverse market. I think many people might contend themselves to go to Warsaw and look around and visit a few government people, but there's a huge market out there beyond that. In fact, in talking to a lot of other companies that have entered Poland or even looking at Poland, have taken the time to go outside to visit some cities along the borders and certainly make themselves aware of what's happening in other parts of the country.
This spirit of reciprocity is not necessarily based on an exchange of things of equal monetary value. People do what they can for themselves and for their close friends and family, viewing the welfare and survival of other people as part of the daily business of their own lives, knowing that they themselves are included in the efforts of others. This sense of connection can easily expand to include people who are not known personally, but who are felt to have in some way sacrificed on behalf of the larger family, the group, the community, or even the nation. The Polish child grows up in a world where the efforts of adults to provide what they feel to be good and right for the child are seemingly endless. The Polish child has an exalted place, to be sure, but it is also a strictly defined place. Material resources for children are quite limited in comparison to what's available in the U.S. and Western Europe, but they're better than they were during the childhood of most Polish parents, and certainly better than what was available to most grandparents. Improvements are desired, and the sense of moving backward under current conditions, where shortages of goods such as infant formulas are unfortunately common, all of this is very distressing to Poland's new parents. There's a universal interest in the health and comfort of children. American parents may discover this personally in the form of disapproval from strangers if they haven't dressed their children warmly enough, or if they're carrying them improperly. This is an area, by the way, which points up the importance of good market research. For example, a number of common child accessories familiar to contemporary Americans, such as children's backpacks or snuggly packs, might seem like natural consumer products in such a child-oriented society as Poland. However, a closer look would reveal that Poles consider such things bad for an infant's breathing and posture, and such innovations would actually have a very hard time making it in Poland. Much time within the family is devoted to children. But children are excluded from adult gatherings and activities until they become well-behaved adolescents. On weekends and on holidays, children do go along on family visits. They're taken to places like parks and zoos, children's theater, the family cemetery, and to church, but they're very rarely taken out in the evening. Children don't even sit at the dinner table with adults in their own family until table manners are securely in place. They also don't generally accompany adults during shopping, except for very young children who may be taken in baby carriages. When company comes to visit, children are given a few minutes to greet the guests, perhaps to show a treasure or two or to show off a new skill like piano playing, but then they're expected to leave the adults alone, something which they are, amazing as it may seem to American parents, able to do quite well, even in very small Polish apartments. Good manners for children are emphasized strongly in Poland, And one of the results is that Poles are an extremely polite, caring, deferential, and hospitable society of adults. As an American in Poland, you'll be well advised to come as close to what are known in the U.S. as old world manners as possible, since you'll be surrounded by people who value and practice these manners with each other on a continual basis. Youth culture may take on a special importance under some circumstances, and it's certainly strong in Poland, as evidenced by trends in Western dress and music. But all in all, the young people of Poland today seem much more likely to continue in the family, community, social, and religious patterns of their parents and grandparents than they are likely to make any significant break with these traditional values.
If you are speaking to the president of a company or about the president of the company, I noticed that the people would refer to the person as our president. And everything was done for his comfort and just exactly the way he wanted it. If there happened to be in the company, as there was in the company we were working with, a very entrepreneurial spirit who exhibited a great deal of what appeared to be American drive and stamina and ingenuity, if you can call them those three things, if there is a person such as that, there was evidenced from time to time the conflict between these two entities.
If there is a single most important thing for Americans to remember in this video, it's that Poland cherishes its identity as a player in Western civilization, and that Poles, who are universally recognized for their contributions to Poland's development, are symbols of the importance of Poland as a country. Among these Poles are Copernicus, Chopin, Madame Curie, and Pope John Paul II. Figures such as Kosciuszko and Pulaski, who took part in Poland's 18th century struggles as well as America's struggle for independence, also reinforce this Western-oriented identity, and they are revered because of that. Poland's current address in Eastern Europe rankles for many reasons, but high among them is because it obscures what Poles believe to be Poland's Western identity. As if to counterbalance this, there's significant status in owning anything made in America, from an automobile to the smallest household utensil. And there's a belief that anything like this has to be better than anything made in the East, or even in Poland itself. Travel to the West, experience in Western-style business, and best of all, personal involvement with and recognition by credible American business people and professionals are also sources of great status in Poland today.
Beyond that, if you look within your own community, there are usually a variety of social clubs. I myself have found in the Dallas area that there's a nucleus of newcomers, people who are young professionals who have been recruited by American firms, who have come here, who are working for American firms, and who are looking for other Poles or people who are interested in Polish. So I find myself that very often I get together with the people just to use the language to improve my Polish. Otherwise, living in Dallas, Texas, you don't find very many people who speak Polish. But know that they're out there. Do not be afraid to call and say, who can I call? There are organizations such as the Friendship Force, which will give you an opportunity to go on a social exchange. We do have a chapter here in Dallas. And there's other organizations that will literally let you go to the country, either for business or pleasure.
But looking westward is only part of the story. Poland's survival as a nation is a matter of intense pride and importance to Poles, and Poles alone hold past and future responsibility for this. National survival is not dependent on a particular political system or set of boundaries, so much as on the survival of ideals, language, and culture. Contributions to this survival and sacrifices made in its behalf are the basis of heroism and even martyrdom. Among Poland's heroes are artists, as well as leaders against oppression. Many of them are known only to Poles, which doesn't diminish their stature or the reverence that Poles have for them. They emerge from Poland's earliest history right up to the present moment. Poland's ongoing and never-ending struggle for survival is understood to be the burden of its past, present, and future.